Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Episode 22, Marching Out the Zombies. This episode covers roughly chapters 587 through 591 of the manga, for those that are keeping track of that. And it was a very good episode, very well paced, very exciting. A little bit of different tone now that we took a little bit of a break, because we are ramping up. Right, the last few episodes of Bleach of this core will run through September, including a double size finale on September 30th. But yeah, this one had a little bit more of a comedic tone, even though it had some of the fights. We left at a really high tension place at the end of the last episode, right? We pick up right at the end, like right after Uryu and Yuhobach and Hashira are like going over to the Soul Palace, and Ichigo confronts Uryu. Orihime and Chad show up to kind of save, help him out and also confront Uryu. So like we left off in a place of very high tension, because a lot is happening now. Some of the story from the manga, it's been probably removed and will be adapted in later episodes. They kind of did that to streamline some of the story and just kind of focus on Ichigo and the group that's in the cemetery. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. This was a great episode, though. I think it's a really fun way to take a little bit of a relief, a reprieve before we get into like this, the last four episodes that are going to be probably very intense, very battle heavy, trying to give us a little bit of levity right before that. So, very much appreciate the tone, because I think overall Bleach was always a very funny, full of gags manga, like very humorous manga. And I don't want that to be lost in the anime adaptation. So I'm glad that we have an episode like this where we can poke a little bit more fun at that. So I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen the episode, make sure to go check it out. But I highly, highly recommend it. This is part one of two. The next episode is called "Marching Out the Zombies 2." And if you read the story, you know that it takes place over a lot happens in this arc. So let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, we pick up from the end of last episode where Chad and Rohime and Ichigo are all confronting Uryu as he leaves them. He ignores them, and as they ascend to the Soul Palace, this causes a massive, massive wave, a wave of air and like a blast that reverberates all throughout the Soul Society. So we kind of check in on all the groups that were around the area, including, first of all, before the credits even kick off, Orihime, Chad, and Ichigo, who were protected by Orihime's shield. Urahara shows up and tells them, like, I'm sorry I'm a little late, but I can get you to the Soul Palace, so let's go figure that out. So they go over there, we get the credits, the opening song, and then here we are. Then we check in where all the other Shinigami are. We see that Baz B confronts Renji and Rukia. Baz B and Renji have a very humorous exchange about, Renji's giving him a little bit of shit about his mohawk, and he calls him like a rooster head. Whereas Baz B compliments Renji on like his eyebrows. He's like, your eyebrows are so cool and sharp, and whatever. So it's a really fun exchange. And I think Renji got the best of that one there. So we'll definitely see that fight probably happen in the next episode. We also see that Byakuya protected himself using Zenmon Sakura, from the blast and the debris, but he is now surrounded by three other Quincy that are still around, including Nanana, I think is his name. So we'll see that. We'll probably also see that fight in the next episode or in the next few episodes. So before we get into the main fight here at the second half, we check back into Squad 12, where Urahara has the preparations that he has his own. He has a soul cannon that he's going to use to get them over to the Soul Palace. He mentions that it's not as effective as the cannon that we know from season one, because he doesn't have the technology or the magic or the know-how from that family. So they are the protectors of that entrance of the Soul Palace. So, but anyways, we get to see Yorichi's back. She's a great character. I love her. I love to see her back. They kind of condensed her coming back. There's a lot more comedic moments in the manga, including like a conversation about Orihime's outfit. and how Urahara recommended her wear that for Ichigo. And then Jorichi has a very special greeting that's very hands-on. If you know Yorichi's character, and if you read the manga, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. We also check in on the visors and what the mission that Urahara had given him. So they are collecting these rifts between the Soul Society and the world of the humans that will be powering this cannon. So Yorichi comes back with that. So really cool to see them. Really cool to check in on all the visors. There's some more comedic stuff there as they kind of like they complete the project, right? So that's really fun. So yeah, it was very cool to kind of see and check in. I like checking in on all the other people that are not in the Soul Society because I'm a big fan of all those characters. I think Bleach just has some really fun characters. Tite Kubo has always been the way he creates characters, like they're all very quirky and different and special, and they're all very likable, right? For the most part, I can't think of many. Even the villains are very intriguing. So, all right, then we get to the mid credits or the mid part of the episode, and after the break, we come back. We see Giselle being confronted by Ikaku and Yumichika. They very quickly figure out that they shouldn't cut her. They shouldn't make her bleed because that will, that'll be something adverse that'll happen. Now we know that she will turn them into anybody that she bleeds on. She turns into zombies that she can then control. So then, since they don't fall for a trap, we get to see Bambietta come back as a zombie. So if you remember, a few episodes ago, the Bambis were all like helping Bambietta, but we get to see the gruesome part of it where actually Giselle had to maybe like finish killing her to turn her into a zombie. It is revealed that she can't turn Quincy's into zombies while they're still alive, like she could do with Shinigami. So we get a fight there. Obviously, Bambietta is a lot stronger than Ikaku and Jumichika, especially because they don't really know what her power is until maybe it's too late. So then this is one of my favorite moments here. One of my favorite characters shows up. Mayuri shows up in this big bright outfit. Like I love how pretentious he is, but also like how much grander than life this character is. He is one of those characters that just choose the scenery every time. Kudos to the voice actor because I think he does a very good job. Also, the Giselle voice actor, like their conversation back and forth, as much fun as it was, like very comedic, but it's also like really really intense. So I like that. So Giselle reveals that she has a bunch of Shinigami that she's turned into zombies. And this is where Mayuri reveals that he himself has his own little army of the undead. So we get to see, if you remember, after his fight with Azazel Aporo Gantz from before, um, he went into the lab after he killed him, or after he gave him the super soldier thing that then ended up killing him. He goes into the lab and he takes pretty much whatever he wants. One of those things was some of the corpses from some of the espadas that Ichigo and the team defeated back in Huecamundo. So we get to see some of those espadas back. It was some of the fracciones, so it was, like they were a lot. They were not the main espadas, but it's really fun to see them back. I really like those characters. I think they're fun, they're quirky, they're weird. This episode probably has a lot of the most weird characters that you can have, and like that we've seen all throughout Bleach. So that's really fun. We get to see a lot of really cool explosions and some fighting. We get to see a Zero blast that we hadn't seen in a long time. Very well animated. So yeah, Giselle's her back's up against the wall, so she kind of placed the ace on her sleeve, which is the reveal of Zombie Hitsugaya. Now, if you have read the manga like me, I this is one of the moments that I do remember. There's a lot of stuff I forgot from a long time ago that as I see it happening, like I remember, but this was something I was expecting coming back with Zombie Hitsugaya, and that's where we leave off the episode. Like I said, very cool fight, a lot of really fun animation, really interesting character exchanges, which just make out. They break the tension right before we get back into it. We're about to get into probably the most high expectations for the episodes that are coming up. So this was a really nice break before that. So, like I said, next week we'll get Marching Out the Zombies #2. And then we'll get, we have 4 more episodes really throughout the month of September, including episode 25 and 26 that will both air on September 30th. So make sure to stay tuned for that. We'll be covering all that stuff in the channel. We are doing watch alongs. I'm a little behind on posting the watch alongs, but they'll be here. They'll be here soon for the rest of this core, and I'm very excited for that. So, if you watched this episode, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.